devices, can they make sure they're muted to avoid any feedback? Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Hybrid Extraordinary Licence Act 2003 Committee, including any visiting members attending remotely and members of the public. And the members of the staff are Reliance and Licensing Manager, who's attending remotely. Licensing Officer attending remotely. Continuous Team Leader Mid-Kent Legal present in the Council Chamber. Democratic Services present in the Council Chamber. Right, I'll give the advice if, as far as we know, there's no alarms due to go off tonight. If the alarm goes off, please take the safest route, which is down the stairs, and please go down to the car park. Wait there till I come and get, well, I'll be down there with you, but wait there till they tell me that it's all safe to come back in case the building has burnt down. Have we got any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Chairman. Apologies have been received from Councillor Carol Jackson, from Councillor Hannah Perkin, who is substituted by Councillor Ben J. Martin, from Councillor Mike Whiting, who is substituted by Councillor Mike Dendor, and from Councillor Tim Valentine. Thank you.
Thank you. Have we?
And yeah, thank you. Apologies from Councillor Roger Clark. Due to health reasons, he can't be here.
Thank you, Cameron. Any declarations of interest? Right. The agenda is a Part B report for decision by the committee. Review of Gambling Act Statement of Principles. The lead officer is Christine Hills. Could I ask Christine to introduce the item? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. This report is to present members with a draft Gambling Act Statement of Principles and to invite comments on it prior to it being put out to public consultation and then formally adopted. As the Gambling Act 2005 specifies that publication of a Statement of Principles is a council function, the final statement will therefore be presented firstly to a future meeting of this committee for endorsement and then on to full council for formal adoption. The Gambling Act specifies that the Statement of Principles must be reviewed at 3 yearly intervals, and therefore this edition will run between the 1st of February 2022 and the 31st of January 2025. Originally, the Statement of Principles that Swell published was developed via the mechanism of the Kent and Medway Regulatory Licensing Steering Group to ensure consistency of approach and therefore minimise the risk of legal challenge. However, during the years since the Gambling Act took effect, councils have tended to change their statements according to individual needs, and therefore this Statement of Principles has been prepared using a model template as recommended by the Gambling Commission and takes into account the latest guidance published by them. Additionally, whilst it is not compulsory, local authorities are encouraged to prepare a local area profile, which can either be incorporated into the Statement of Principles or published as a separate document. The purpose of a local area profile is to identify any actual or potential risk in relation to gambling-related harm. In this regard, officers felt that a local area profile, LAP, would be an extremely worthwhile document to have, but thought that it should be published separately. The reasoning for this was that it would be far easier to keep the LAP up to date as the borough undergoes regeneration and transformation, without the need to consult on the entire Statement of Principles. As a consequence, a draft local area profile was presented to members of the General Licensing Committee at its meeting of the 20th of February 2020, and approval was given for it to be put out to public consultation. However, because of the current coronavirus pandemic, this consultation was put on hold, But now, as we come out of the restrictions, it is felt to be an opportune moment that the consultation is begun so that it can be published in tandem with the Statement of Principles. Members will note that the proposed consultees for the statement are far-reaching to ensure that any group or body that may have an interest in gambling-related harm is alerted to the fact of this consultation. A local authority can pass a resolution under Section 166 of the Gambling Act not to issue any casino premises licences. Swale has not passed such a resolution previously, and unless members think it otherwise, it is not intended to do so now. All comments received of this consultation will be entered onto a grid for consideration by the Resilience and Licensing Manager and licensing officers, and a recommendation will be made as to whether or not to amend the statement, which will form part of the report that will be presented to a meeting of this committee on the 9th of September 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Any members got any questions? Councillor Burt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to support this report. Just to be picky and just to have a couple of changes on the list of bodies, if possible. Where it says parish councils, can we ensure that is parish and town councils, because town councils occasionally get missed out on our consultations. And NHS Swale CCG no longer exists. It's the Kent and Medway CCG now. They were merged. And just again, to be picky, Citizens Advice dropped the Bureau a couple of years back. But other than that, I think the report is well written and happy to support it.
Thank you, Councillor Burt. Councillor Ben Martin.
Thank you, Chair. I'm quite happy with the report. However, I would point members to page 9, the implications of the report, and say I'm surprised to see nothing mentioned under health and wellbeing impacts, given that addiction is a health concern, and addiction is mentioned several times throughout the report, including on page 31 of the agenda with section 69 there. You'll see the requirement to make sure that there are placements of advertising to encourage those who are suffering from addiction to seek help. It's happening quite a bit on a lot of our report items, and it would be good to see that that's actually added in.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. Any other points? Christine, do you want to come back on that? Those 2 points?
Yes, my apologies for not including town councils. It will, of course, go out to all of them. And as far as Swale CCG is concerned and the Citizens Advice, I have got the correct email addresses for them, and I apologise that when I compiled the report, I didn't realise of the changes. As far as health and wellbeing is concerned, I take on Councillor Martin's comments, and I do apologise for that. The reason why we have the local area profile is because that is very much focused around the health-related harms that come with gambling addiction, and that's why we thought that that was a worthwhile document to actually publish. But yes, of course, it should have been in the implications, and I can only apologise.
Thank you, Christine. Could I have a proposer and a seconder, please? Your second. Thank you very much. Now we go to the vote. I will go through it as I'm supposed to. Councillor Cameron Burt.
4.
Myself, 4. Councillor, who's doing Roger Clark? No, he's not here, right? Councillor Richard Darby. 4. Councillor Tim Gibson.
4.
Councillor Peter MacDonald. Yeah. Councillor Lee McCall.
4.
Who's covering for Eddie Thomas? He's not here. No. Oh, that's what they sent me. I do apologise.